Yo, what up, Internet? The No Level Cap Podcast, episode 108. This week, we're talking about Kaiju number 8. Yeah, let's get into it, bro. Like, it's one of the hottest new animes of the year so far, I would say, alongside like maybe Solo Leveling from last season. Kaiju number 8. It's been pretty interesting so far. I wanted to get y'all thoughts on it. Devin, let's just go ahead and get into it, man, because you were the one that kind of talked to me about it the most. How are you liking the show so far?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I heard about the Kaiju no Mate, and name alone interested me. I was like, okay, Kaiju no Mate, some with some big monsters. Okay, but after watching it, I'm going to say this is right now. This is one of my tops of the season so far. This Solo Leveling, really enjoyed that. I didn't know what to expect watching it, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. But Kaiju no Mate, boy, this show right here, man, it's y'all know me. I think I'm realizing more. I like action anime, but I think I like comedies more, especially like when they have the mix of it. Cause Kafka, this man is, boy, what a protagonist we have, man. I think we actually had this discussion on the episode before about shonen anime. It's like it's all the kids and they no, this man, he our age. He 30. And he even like mentioned stuff in episodes about, man, I can't do stuff like I used to. I'm like, this, he's definitely speaking to the older crowd. Like, and then just the juxtaposition of him around all these younger people is like also hilarious. And it's like there's a lot of I would say like current like social commentary, just like it, or life commentary, because it's like he has a job that kind of sucks. Like, I mean, well, not kind of, so it sucks. Like, you gotta clean up the aftermath of the kaiju that have been destroyed. I mean, in that he learns a lot, how they operate and stuff like that. But it's like, like the first episode, he cleans up one, then he's like, the guy's like, you got to go to the I forgot what he called, like stomach or bowel duty, something like. Well, I got to go to. It's like, bro, like, like, so that sucks. Like but there's a reason why he's doing it, because his friend, what's her name? I think Mina. They made a vow like, hey, we're gonna be in the defense force one day, and that's just he's like, well, this is the closest I can get right now. I can learn from this. So he still has that dream of doing that and being by her side. So he's like, I guess I just keep doing this. He's applied for the position and just failed, just constantly failed. And I think that's my favorite part about it, just because I'm 33, so he's in my age group. He's in pretty much everybody's age group that's watching this on this panel. The fact that he's still going for a dream, even though he's 30, like he ain't super old. He's like you middle age or getting close to it. He's not like super old. He still got time to do stuff. He still can go out and follow his dreams. But just his persistence, like he's not like he's a goofball, but he is intelligent. Because I mean, like, later on he shows like he's like when he if he studies and like retains knowledge, he can use that pretty well. Like when he's fighting kaiju later on, he's like actually helps him out a lot immensely later on. But he's a goofball. He's a goofball. He's kind of a klutz. But man, I like this show, man. I really like Kaiju no Babe, man. I promise. Like I watched him, like I'll check it out, and I've been hooked, man. I'm talking about. I'm almost to the point where I was a Marshall, like when that Kaiju no Babe, man. When it was out, man, I gotta watch it, man. I gotta watch it. So yeah, I'm to put it short, I am loving this anime, man.
Okay, what would you give it?
Um, I ain't gonna lie, right now, man, I'm gonna give it like a, from what I've seen so far, the character like I said, the comedy is there. He's such a goofball of a character. The action is there. There's this story of like, okay, like what's going on with these kaijus? They're showing up. There's some things we see, some mystery. Like there's another, him turning into a kaiju. Like what's all that's about? And then we see somebody else that's like, okay, so he's not the only person, that's a kaiju. So there's a lot of mystery, some comedy, action. Right now, I'm gonna say a 9. That's what I'm putting in right now
Mm.
for me personally.
Okay.
Okay, that's a solid score. Will, where do you stand on the show so far?
So far, I really have been enjoying the show just
How
because,
many,
like,
by
what's
the
up?
way, how many episodes have you seen?
I've seen every bit of them, every one that's
Okay, so all
out right
6.
now.
All right.
Yeah, all 6. Yeah, I've seen all 6. But my knowledge of the show came from old coworker of mine used to bring manga to work all the time, and would read that when it got quiet. And he was just like, I look back one day, he brought something called Kaiju Number 8. In my mind, before I ever watched the show, I always thought it seemed like a really serious type of thing.
Boy.
Nah, Kafka proved me completely wrong when he set foot on the screen immediately. Up here being the cleanup man for the stuff behind this is crazy. And on what I like to call that dookie duty. He on that the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's such a lovable idiot. I love him to death. And then on top of that, like Devin said, him being within our age range makes him just that much more relatable because he's trying everything under the sun to get to where he wants to be instead of staying where he is. He's failed and failed, stumbled and stumbled all the time, trying to get to the defense force. And now he's finally getting his chance, and I think that's really awesome. But it's funny how he ends up becoming the thing that he's trying to learn to kill. He's a target, and it's like he's an op of an op. I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Opception.
Yes, he's that. So now this show has been funny. I love the animation. I love him as a character. I love all the other characters too because they're interesting enough as especially I can't think Shinonome, her. She is like really interesting to me so far because even though she comes off very brash and cocky, it's shown because she's still young, like she's exceptionally young, like half his age basically, if I'm not mistaken. And I like seeing that little dynamic because she's just like, I'm better than you. But then she get in trouble and he pull up and she's just like, you actually really kind of cold. I ain't expect this out of you.
Man,
but I'm still better.
You said she was like half his age. That reminds me of she was like, hey, old man. And he was like,
who you talking to?
It was so funny seeing the hiragana pop up over his head like, oh, son. It was like, me? I'm only 30. I ain't old, is it? And like she and his buddy was like, yeah, you old as hell, buddy. I'm like, whoa. It hurt so much. I understood his pain immediately because I'm like, whoa, no,
man, it
like
really
this.
does hurt. It's like, damn, when these shows come out, between JRPGs and anime, boy, they treat characters that like if you're outside of your 20s, you are like decrepit.
Put it one foot in the grave, the other on a banana field.
It's like what Sid in Final Fantasy VII is like in his 30s, yet he's treated like a 50-year-old.
Anytime they show somebody in their 30s, they act like that. 30 and 50, 30, 40, 50, 60, same age. It's like, no, man.
Ain't that the Christmas cake principle? Like once you get past 25,
but
it's like a version of that, yeah.
Yeah,
like I said, it tells of actual like real life, like kids out that are younger than us. They look at somebody 25 up, 20, you 25?
Oh, for sure.
You drawing Social Security?
This off topic, well, on topic, but not on topic to the anime. I was just seeing like a TikTok of like the Giants, and they was like talking to the rookies, and they was like, "How old is old?" And they just asked like, "Give a birth year," and somebody was like, 96. If you born after 90, before 96, you old. One person said 2000. I was like, okay, well, it's time for me to go ahead and hang it up.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up.
2000?
2000.
Yo.
It's time for me to just go ahead and slide back in my rocking chair, bro.
Nah, man. If he was 10 years old when Drake came out.
Boy.
Boy.
Where's my Metamucil at?
I know.
My Centrum.
Bro. Oh, man. He said Centrum and Metamucil.
Oh.
But, yeah. Kaiju number 8 is so far. Got to get the icy hot in the Bengay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kaiju number 8, super good, super funny. I love the action. Everything about it is cool. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about an 8.5 right now. I love the little stuff they sprinkling in right now here and there, especially from episodes like 4 to 6 right now. I really like what they did there, especially introducing this, this new thing here. And I'm just like, huh.
Kaiju number 9, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I don't know if that's his name or not, but like it seemed like it.
He might be.
It could be before.
He could be Kaiju number 1. Yeah, you're right.
Look he's like he's well versed. He ain't like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Especially what he said at the end of episode 6. I'm like, okay, all right,
and he well spoken.
He low key like the cause. He could be the cause of this for all we know.
Yeah. He could be.
He could. That could be like Michael Jackson, Demon Slayer, the origin.
Well, yeah. It's worth saying. I don't think any of us have read the manga, right?
No,
I haven't. No.
Yeah. So we all anime only. So if you're watching this, and you're like, how do y'all not know this? It's like, hey man, we anime only. So sorry.
Anime only at this moment.
Which is for the best for me. I don't know about everybody else. It's for the best for me because the second I start reading the manga, I stop watching anime, even though I prefer anime. Like once I get that far ahead, I'm like, why am I going backwards though?
It's hard. Understand.
Like I completely understood it.
It broke me on Black Clover. It broke me on My Hero Academia. I'm just now going through My Hero Academia. I'm so far behind. Like I'm basically mostly caught up on the manga. I'm so far behind on the My Hero Academia anime. I basically was like, look, just start over season 2 and we'll just keep it going from there. So, Terrence, where do you stand on the show so far?
Going into the show, there's been so much hype for this show. First off, I remember even maybe 2 years ago, just the rumblings of whenever they first announced that there was going to be an anime adaptation, that it was just this big deal. And ever since, it just seems like every piece of information that they've released about it has just always been big, and just people just kind of hyping up this anime to be the next big shonen in some way. And I will say that based on the episodes I've seen so far, we're just talking about episodes 1 through 6. I like it. I quite like it. For one, as you all have already said, with Kafka, he's a very relatable protagonist. Maybe a bit too relatable. It kind of reminds me a lot of this and Zom 100. We always complain about how there's not really enough protagonists that are outside of the teens, and now that we're getting, it seems like more like that, they might be hitting a little too close to home. It's like with Zom 100, you had this guy where he just hated his job and he'd rather go through the zombie apocalypse than return to work, and you have Kafka who essentially feels like the type of guy that he didn't get a chance to he's a late bloomer in a sense. That's the word the term I was looking for, is that while everybody else is springing ahead, he's always the one that's kind of lagging behind and having to play catch up, even with his own childhood friend. So that's very relatable in that regard, which I think is a really cool message with this anime, is that just because you reach a certain age doesn't mean you have to stop trying to pursue a certain dream, or you can't keep going in some kind of way. It's as long as there's a chance, then you just got to keep pushing through. And so I think that that's really cool. But just speaking on the anime itself, I think that the animation is quite good. The music, surprising. I really like some of the little musical pieces that they sprinkle throughout certain episodes. The battle music is really, it gets pretty hype.
How you feel about that opening and ending?
I like the opening. The opening, it's not the type that I think is going to be one of the ones that people talk about a lot, maybe by the end of this year, because I'm sure this year has actually had quite a few bangers, so I don't think this will necessarily be one of them, but I could be wrong. The ED, if anything, what makes the ED interesting is the fact that it's done by One Republic. For those who don't know, One Republic, an American band, I find that to be, it just goes to further show that anime has become mainstream. The fact that a band has been around for quite some time is doing the ending. I think that that's pretty crazy in and of itself.
If JoJo can do it, we can do it.
JoJo was always the exception for that sort of thing, because they always kind of play by their own rules. But now that you have just an anime like this doing that, it's kind of crazy. But the ending, it's fine. It's not anything that it's a very comforting kind of ending. So I think that it fits for the most part. It's not anything outstanding, but it's not anything that's bad either, at least in my opinion. But the music is quite good. The characters, I do like the characters. None of them I find to be annoying. Even the twin tail girl, I thought that she might be the one. Yeah, I thought she might be the one who would kind of grate on your nerves. It'd be the tsundere type. But even she, as soon as she started talking about being perfect, I was like, oh, there's some kind of traumatic
Yeah.
backstory that you have that's making you this way. And sure enough, they revealed the stuff going on between her and her father. So I was like, okay, so there is more to her. And then as the episodes went along, kind of like the brattiness that she had from Jump kind of went away. Like she still, has this air of confidence about her, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just, part of her character. Kafka, I mean, as Devin said, like he's really funny. He doesn't take himself too seriously. It's very interesting that the kaiju powers don't come up as much as you would think. Like he actually tries to keep them pretty much at bay until like it's really a necessity. So that's a interesting twist to this because him gaining powers, you could see it very similar to like Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan, where in this world and also in Attack on Titan, you have this one force that everybody's against. In Kaiju number 8, you have the kaiju that everybody's fighting. In Attack on Titan, you have the Titans. And then you have one of them who gets to become one of the enemy. And it's like, what does that imply kind of thing? Now, I don't think that the lore here is going to get anywhere near as like heavy as Attack on Titan, but I do think that it's interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, I do think that it's interesting. There's routes that it could go that I think could be interesting. And so that's something that I think is really cool about the show, that depending on the path that it goes down, it could make for a really cool story. Based on episode 6 with the before I get to episode 6, just the little entrance exam, that is always interesting to see these anime kind of like take pieces from one another now, because of course, they talk about how they have like the captains and the vice captains. You could see that from like Bleach. And then you have like the entrance exam, where I mean, there's multiple anime like that. But, the one that immediately comes to mind is like My Hero Academia. Yeah, it's just interesting to see how a lot of these shonen, like these new school shonen now, take like bits and pieces from others and try to combine it to make it even better. And I think it works well here. It's not like anything here is like, nothing here is like inherently original, but I think it works well enough that it's fine on its own. But yeah, then when we get to episode 6, after all the exam stuff is over and them getting into like the actual missions, I'd say that was pretty cool too, is just seeing them go through the missions and like the older people in the squad being there saying like, yeah, you rookies, you better keep up kind of thing. And then the rookies actually coming along and showing them up. And then at the end, when, the big wave comes on, it's like the rookies start kind of complaining a little bit. And they're like, all right, I thought you guys were super tough. Let's see you handle this. And so they went out and, even the squadron leader, she was like, hey, are you all just going to sit back and let them take the glory? And, they went on. So I thought that was really cool to see how them interact on the battlefield in that regard. I guess one last thing I'll mention is, one thing that I think this anime does that's really cool is the respect that so many of the characters have for Mina, the captain. I think that that's really cool, especially for one thing. I mean, because it's a female character. A lot of times there's talk about how, like with male characters, like how male characters will like look up to other male characters, but not necessarily like male characters like look up to female characters a lot. But in a case like this, it's really cool to see them look up to her, and not necessarily in like just a sexual way, but it's like they actually respect her capabilities and what she can do.
Turned her into a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. And they even said that. Yeah,
especially after episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even said it, like they look up to her as a superhero.
Load another one.
And she kind of reminds me of, and Sage, you'll appreciate this. If anything, she kind of reminds me of that character from Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Like the blonde hair girl.
Where I forgot her name.
Like she's the one that's like highly regarded by everybody. Like everybody.
She's the highest level person around and shit.
Yeah. She kind of reminds me of her. Yeah. She reminds me of her in that, she's somebody that, people may like her, outside just her job, but like they respect what she's able to do. And so I think that that's really cool.
She kind of reminded me, and this is a deep pool of Satellizer from Freezing.
I can see that.
Ooh,
I can see kind of like the same level of stoic and like super talented and shit, but also very standoffish and whatnot. That's where I was
just
like,
take away the Omega fan service.
Yeah, and thank God without all the fucking fan service.
Yeah, minus that.
Yeah, but me of Mikasa a little bit.
Yeah,
who?
because like
Mikasa.
her and
Mikasa?
Aaron both grew up.
Yeah.
He was kind of good, but she was just like excelling, like exceedingly. Like probably the only
Yeah.
person that was like better than her was like Levi, and I think even
Well,
she
they're from
was,
this, and there's a reason
Yeah.
for
And
that.
and even the vice captain, he's very much like Levi. There's like I said, there's so
Yeah.
many elements that it's interesting to see like these new schools shown and kind of pull from others. And I'm not saying like they directly pull from them to make their own little thing, but you can kind of make that relation. But yeah, overall, I think that this show is quite good. I like it so far. I'm very interested to see where the story goes. We have all the stuff with the kaiju that can turn into a human coming up, and him giving these other kaiju new abilities. Yeah, I think so far this show has a lot of potential, and I'm interested to see where it goes. So I'd give it a strong 8.5. I would want to give it a 9, but I want to see where it goes first before I get too high. I don't want to praise it too much and then it disappoint me later on. And it's like, well, shit.
Promise Neverland in this bitch.
Oh my goodness. Now, see, that's one where season 1 for me is a 10 out of 10, and then you get to season 2 and it's like, what happened?
Tokyo Ghoul.
Nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah. So, those are my thoughts on it.
Okay. I'll admit I was dragging my feet on this one. Like me and Keem watched the first episode together, and I was like, "This is cool," and I just started watching other shit and a whole bunch of other anime because it's a busy season. And I never came back to this show until it was time to do this podcast. Like as of yesterday, I was like, okay, let me start getting through some of these episodes. And to my surprise, like, man, of course, Kafka, like everybody else has said, is extremely likable. Like he's just such a likable guy. Like everything about him is relatable. Like, I mean, like unless you're living your perfect dream right now, he is the most relatable character to like an older anime fan. Unless you got like everything going right, you like, dang, this is definitely like something I can identify with, because like you probably do have like a thing that you would like to be doing, and it's like, fuck, I haven't gotten a chance to get that done yet. And he's like, this is my last chance. So they put a little bit of a ticking clock on it to make it that much more important to him. Man. And then they've gone crazy with these kaiju designs. That's one thing I'll say, because like the kaiju, every time you see them, they look like nothing you've ever seen before. Like the closest you could come, and it's not like this at all, but like it's in terms of creative, Ultraman gets super creative with their kaiju designs because they have to generate so many of them from season to season. But like this is also just crazy and wild, and sometimes it's like a fucking weird ass spider with an old man's face that's trying to eat shit. Then there's like these weird fucking mushrooms and shit. And then like a half a demonic fucking dinosaur looking. It's like, what the fuck are? And then like, even for Kafka himself, like when he gets transformed, his transformation is it's almost like it's not set. Because like in the second episode, he was still mutating and all this weird shit was going on. And he was like, what the fuck? And like it got it was like terrifying to a point that I was like impressed for Reno, because I'm like, man, I'd have ran my ass off. I'd have been like, hey man, you gotta get the fuck away from me. And he managed to get control. But it helps that Kafka's such a fucking goofball. And which reminds me, like I was talking about the show with a friend, and I told him how shocked I was that it was so funny, because like everybody else said, it doesn't seem like it would be that funny. And they were like, how long is it? And I was like 24, I think, episodes, if not 24. I mean, like the manga's still going, so it'll probably run for a while. And they were like, I wonder if at one point they'll shoo out the clowns, was the expression they used. And I was like, well, considering the main character is the clown, we probably keep him around all the time. Like, you can't just get rid of him. And they really have managed to make all the characters likable, because at first I was about to flip my shit with Kikoru. I was like, man, get this bitch out of here. Like, I couldn't fucking stand her. She was so spoiled and just so annoying. And I mean, like, I like characters that are cocky about how good they are, but she was just being annoying just for the purpose of being annoying. And I was like, man, you got to get the fuck out of here. And it sounds evil, but it helped once she got humbled. Like, once she ran into that one kaiju that was like, get your ass away from me. Like, well, actually, she ran into kaiju number 1 or 9 or whoever he is, and he like shot her up, and she was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And she like forced to heal. And then like the second she got challenged and had to try to figure out like, okay, how am I gonna survive? And then like it's a rare case of someone showing heart and me being like, okay, I'm impressed. Because she showed heart, got back up. The other kaiju had been supercharged. He smacked her around a bunch, and then she was still trying to fight until she looked up and her arm was silly putty, and she was like, yep, that's it. I'm done. I was like, I'm mad, but I wasn't that mad. Like somebody come save her. All with all that. I just needed her to calm the fuck down. And the second Kafka showed up, transformed into like a into his kaiju form, was like, you did a good job. I was like, all right, we good now. And like even her, like once she saw what happened, she immediately just calmed down. I was like, and she got the credit for beating the kaiju that she didn't beat at all. She was like, that shit, you could tell it burned. And she was just like, I didn't earn that. Like, I hate people praising me. I earned that. And like everything about her character just changed the second she still got that same level of cockiness, but she's not just like disgustingly annoying about it. And she still has that tsundere aspect to her character. Like every time Kafka is like applauding her for like being good at her job, which is another thing that's funny. Cause like I think, like I think about Naruto, he saw Sasuke was better than him, and he was like, man, fuck this dude forever. And like like Kafka saw she was that good, and he was like, damn, you impressive as fuck. And like so impressive that he tried to congratulate her, he got stomped out. He ran over there, was like, you so good at your job, and they was like, shut up, and just literally stomped him out. I was like, yo, this show has no business being this funny. I really do enjoy the secret identity stuff. It's funny because he can't control his transformations, but he has to. And like he's even brought up, like even in I think episode 5, he like brought up the idea of like working with the Kaiju Defense Force, and Kikoro immediately was like, nah, that ain't what you want to try to do. Cause like at best, they're gonna poke and prod you for the rest of your life, and they'll be trying to figure out how this happened. And at worst, they'll kill you and try to use your body for like special items and shit, which is to me kind of dumb. Like I understand that's how you get in your armor and shit, but like if you've got somebody fighting for you, just let them fight for you. Especially since apparently he's like one of the most powerful kaiju to ever exist. Which
clearly,
because he just like he literally like one punch man. He's one punch kaiju. Every time he just finishes the enemy, just like, look, I'm gonna just charge up this one serious punch and the fight over with.
Maybe that's why he doesn't show up too much.
Episode 6, and like as far as like me, like not only did this show win me over, but by episode 6, I was like wanting to see where things were going to go next. Because there's the difference between being like good enough to keep watching and like actually anticipating the next episode. And 6 had enough of a cliffhanger that I was like, okay, I need to see what happens next. Not only that, but I did like the way that they managed to keep the comedy, but also up the tension, the narrative, dramatic tension, because like the way that they were carrying out the mission and like even the way that they shot the show. Of course, everything was done at night. Of course, everything's cooler at night. And so it's like everybody's trying to do this mission and go off and they were establishing the characters at the same time. Everything about this is just really well done. I think I would probably stand at like an 8 out of 10 right now. I give out 8s like candy, but I'm also like, I'm not hard to please, but I am hard for you to give out them 9s and 10s. Like I want to see like you got to earn those for me. And so like this to me, it was very enjoyable. I just want like Terrence, I want to see where it goes, see if it like improves over time. I don't anticipating falling apart unless they do what they did to Tokyo Ghoul and do what they did to Promised Neverland, where they just get to a point and they're like, all right, look, for whatever reason, we just gonna stop following the manga and we just gonna make up our own ending. That's when shows turned into trash. Either that or like 7 Deadly Sins, where they're like, I don't know, man, we out of budget.
Boy,
we ain't got no more money, and so we just gonna put this on the screen, and it's gonna look like. You say what, Keen?
That could be an episode by itself when good shows go bad.
Man, that's a lot of them. I ain't trying to raise nobody blood pressure because I definitely
that's a lot of those anime from the 2000s.
Boy,
man.
Either they go bad or they just ended them for no reason. You like, bro, why'd they cut the show off? Like it was good. Like, go buy the source material or whatever.
They made a whole Gintama parody about that.
Boy, didn't they? They had a whole little bit explaining how filler worked and how the show got cut off and all. God, that show. I need to go back and finish that.
Me too.
But yeah, I right now I stand at an 8 out of 10. This definitely over the course of 5 episodes climbed from like, okay, I'm cool on this, to like, okay, this is like one of the better shows of the season. So I'm happy that we picked this to go ahead and check out for the season. Yeah. Rakeem, where do you stand on the show?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be straight up. I feel very similar to y'all. for anybody who watches anime or reads manga and occupies online space, you know there are certain darlings that come up every few years that are like really popular. You see them, you keep hearing about them, you see pages from them. And Kaiju number 8, Spy Family is a great example of this. AOT, One Piece, what's that one? With the gangster who the Way of the House Husband. I would see that all the time online. And Kaiju number 8 falls in a similar suit. I think, but like for me personally, like, watching the discourse on Kaiju number 8 with the manga panels and what they would show did not convey how the character actually came across in the show at all. I remember hearing about this show being compared to Attack on Titan ad nauseum, like all the time. It's like AOT, it's like AOT, it's like AOT.
Where?
And I watched this, so it was like,
I swear.
Okay, I see the monster part and the person turned to the monster, and I watched the show like, yo, this is a completely different vibe.
When that man
this feels very
from his
different.
nipples.
I think it's just the fact that it's just like these group of people versus these giants, and I think that's the only thing. Like that's what people are comparing it to. Yeah.
Right. But I will say because of that, I was pleasantly surprised of the direction the show took, because I mean, not every show has to be super serious or dark and brooding, and I think just like Sage said earlier, a lot of that comes down to the protagonist, Kafka. And Kafka, watching him in this show, the comparison I can make is Kafka relates to any person who has ever woken up in the morning like, fuck, I gotta go to work. He's like that character incarnate as a person, and like just watching him do his job in this universe where these kaiju and monsters are attacking constantly. And by the way, it's also very interesting that it's happened so often it became normalized.
Well, one thing I noticed in the last episode, this isn't a new thing.
No.
That one dude with the swords, like the guy that was the guy you talked about, where you were like, hey, man, we really should fire this dude, but he's so funny, I'm going to keep him around.
The vice captain.
The vice captain. He was like, yeah, we've been doing this. He was like, yeah, this goes back in my family to like the something dynasty or whatever. So like the something period. So we talking hundreds of years of them dealing with
They've been doing this
kaiju.
a long
That's just
time.
life for them now.
Yeah. And the turning point for me when I was like, oh, this is definitely like, they have a kaiju light. They got red, yellow, green kaiju. I was like, yo. And then like the people like, when the Defense Force gonna take care of this? And I think that's also an intriguing part of this. The first intriguing part is protagonist, who is very likable, very relatable, like you guys have said before. He has a charm to him where you can tell he wants more from life, but whatever he's doing, he's gonna do it with the best of his ability, because he knows where he wants to be. And I guess he feels like he needs to achieve certain things at a certain level, which, most people, don't really do that shit, because we know it doesn't work that way in life all the time. But you can tell with him, even when he does end up going through his training process in the Defense Force, and he's clearly not as good as the other guys, he's giving it everything. He's trying to find anything he can do to support. Like in the most recent episode where he's like, hey, I can't fight these monsters at the level these other guys do, but with my experience of cleaning up monsters, I can identify the weaknesses in certain parts and convey the information through reconnaissance. That was really cool to see.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that part because like I love like sometimes in animes that stuff gets lost, where everything's all about power levels and who can attack things and who can destroy things. And when you're in a group kind of dynamic like this, there are all types of things that are coming to the play with strategy, supply lines, group abilities, and conveying stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, for the first part, I like the fact that he's such a relatable protagonist. He works so hard towards his goals, and he works hard to achieve his goals. And the second part I like is a little bit more sinister, but I feel as though I kind of like that everybody's a little bit too comfortable, because I feel like something's gonna happen. Like you can kind of tell, like they're way too relaxed about these kaiju.
Episode 6, the end of that.
Yeah. It feels like, it's like, I think the weird part of watching this show is like, you're in a universe where you have these giant monsters. But as a viewer, if you're watching this, you start noticing like, they are very efficient at killing you. Like, it's rudimentary for them now. They've been doing it so long. It's like watching another Attack on Titan reference, but it's kind of like watching the scout group fight regular normal Titans, not the special ones. They can kill them, no problem. Hit the nape of the neck, no problem. So that kind of eases some of the tension. But now with this new wrinkle of this other kaiju who's able to power up the other kaiju, resurrect the other kaiju, we don't know what the fuck about to happen. That gives me a lot of excitement watching this show. I've had a blast watching it. I think it's one of those things where, like, when you're watching, it's like, man, this man makes me want to go achieve my dream. I have been bullshitting on learning piano. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back on the piano today. Practice. Man's inspiring, man. Another part of this show I really like, and I think it's a part of this because I've been watching a lot of shows with like group dynamics. When he goes into the military, I think it's like episode 5 when they're finally all one group and they're going through their training regiment. Just the dynamic of them learning to work together, getting to know one another. They have these intense rivalries, but even though they have these rivalries and like they're challenging each other, makes each other better. And I've noticed that, like, especially episode 6, you really see it where they're like trying to outgun each other, but also like in the same breath being more efficient and doing better. Yeah. Just the fact that one person is like way ahead of the class is inspiring the rest of the class to do better. And they have this captain who's this like pinnacle leader who's like the creme de la creme that they look up to. And she's inspiring them. That makes them want to work harder. I like the dynamic as well. It just doesn't feel like everybody's useless, at least not yet. Clearly there's going to be some kind of change. You kind of can feel it. Like the tension is kind of rising a little bit every episode. And I feel like the shit's going to hit the fan at some point and we're going to have some rising tension to a climax. But so far, they've done a great job of like gradually getting to that point. So we have a very likable protagonist. I think the development of the cast is good. I like the characters. They're a little tropey, but they still like work well together in the dynamic they have together. And this gradual tension they've been going through every episode has kept me interested. And now it's kind of coming to a boiling point. Like, something's going to happen next. But not to go long, I think this is a solid like 8.5. I think this has definitely done enough for me to be. This is probably my favorite anime of the season I've watched. I'm not watching a whole lot this season as much as like last season or season before that. But this is by far the one I like the most. I'm trying to catch this every Saturday. Sage, what you talking about, Sage?
No, you said, no, I'm just thinking like you were like my favorite anime of the season. I'm like, what is my favorite anime of the season? I don't know. Like, maybe. Oh, no, never mind. I know what it is. It's Konosuba.
Oh, Konosuba, yeah. You already know Konosuba.
It's so fucking funny. But I mean, like, this is a very good entry. Like, it's one of those, like, I've gotten to the point in the season where I'm like, okay, I'm finna have to drop some shit. It's too many shows I'm watching. And this has turned into one of those shows where I'm like, I won't be dropping this. I'm going to go ahead and finish it out.
Yeah.
One thing oh, sorry, you still have something else, Rakeem?
No, go ahead. No, nothing important. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you all, one thing that I did notice about this show is, normally when you have like vice captains, you have like the upper leadership and whatnot, there's like some older people there. And maybe they'll show them later, but is it kind of weird that there's like no older people that have been shown yet? It's like everybody is like capped out at like late 20s. And even like Kafka himself, it feels like he's like the oldest person there, and there's like no one older than him.
I think he was older than Mina. I think it looked like he was.
No, he is older than Mina. Mina is like 27 and he's 32. So there's like a 5-year gap there.
Well, it's a couple things. One, they did say at the start they're expanding the age range for people to try and enter, which would suggest that they're running low on recruits, probably because they don't survive. And then I did do a little bit of research on this. There are some older people, we just haven't met them yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Even this episode, you saw that with like they were the rookies, and you saw the older kind of people were like watching them and say, "Hey, y'all need to get out the way and get out of the way, you rookies." And the rookies were like, "You better get our way. We finna."
You remember when they were doing the little commencement ceremony? The one sitting down, they looked like they were like. I thought I saw like some 40s, maybe some 50-looking years in there that was sitting down.
Okay,
I'd have to go back and check.
Okay.
Look at that.
I guess just nobody is like made their presence known. Like they haven't had like speaking lines enough for me to like notice them. But yeah, like Sage mentioned, they probably just show up later. I just thought I'd just bring it up.
Yeah, so far they focused really on this squad, like this primary squad.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when you
They
have
don't-
such
It's
a
kind of like a
large
class A
cast,
kind of situation.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like they don't spread our attention too thin with everybody trying to classify and get everybody noticed on the screen.
Yeah.
one of the hardest things, especially, and this is very common in shonen manga, they throw so many characters at you so quickly, and then you don't know who the fuck anybody is. And it's like it's probably
Mhm.
good to just ease you in and be like, okay, here's the two. Like the first episode is like, okay, it's Kafka and was it Lino or Reno?
Reno.
And
Oh
then
yeah,
like
Reno.
Reno, and then Mina. And Mina is more like in the shadows, just like she's that figure that he's looking up to and trying to match up to. But like it's really just Reno and Kafka. And in the second episode, they introduce some more characters. Third episode, and like every episode, they introduce some more characters. And so they probably it's probably not a bad idea because like otherwise you're gonna get lost real quick.
No, not.
You're
right.
One thing I'll say, he made me think about it. It's good that there is nobody. The most useless character is the main character, and
Right.
he's not that useless, right?
Right.
Like you think about like Demon Slayer, and it's like, man, this man, what's the dude with the lightning style?
Oh, Zenitsu.
Thank you. Because I can't
Like,
stand
yeah,
it.
He good when he
I
falls
love
asleep, but he's terrified until he falls
Hey
asleep.
man,
Like, I ain't
don't
answering
sleep on.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie.
Don't let
Man,
them sleep
speaking of
on
that,
you.
Sage, I remember like last week's episode, bro, people online went off.
Uh-oh.
They were like, I'm tired of this, man. Get him off my TV. I'm sick of him, man.
Yep.
I
Well,
like,
they're not gonna
I
be
like
happy when they get to
Zenitsu,
the
but
end.
he is very extra. He's very extra.
They ain't gonna like that show when they get to the end, and I can tell you that. And then I think about Mineta from My Hero Academia. It's like, man, what are you here for? Like, you ain't doing
You
shit.
already know how I feel about Mineta.
Hey,
That
I
boy
mean,
horny.
the internet feel the same
I'll
way as
take
you
3
do.
Zenitsus
Man.
over just one Zen.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
At least
That's
Zenitsu
crazy.
can fight sometime. I'll give
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah.
Zenitsu is
But,
like
like-
entertaining in
Boy.
his own way. I mean, he's over the
He
top for
is.
sure, but at least he's not like
He's super
pervy
over the
over the top.
That's true. But like, I mean, like with this show, everybody has some type of. In fact, like I said, like he's the most useless character, at least in his human form. And even he finds ways in it, even in his human form, he finds ways to be useful, like Keem said. And then, like the other characters, they're all. I mean, like it's kind of coincidental, but he happened to fall into this class of rookies that are just like really good at everything they do. Probably because they expanded the age range. It was like, hey man, you got more people in their 20s and lower, like upper 20s to like, okay, we're skilled at this. And then of course you got Hikaru,
Yeah.
who's like really young, but she's like rich as
Like
fuck.
the ace. And
Yeah,
she's the
so
ace. Yep.
She becomes the ace because she's had the armor longer than anybody else. She's been able to work with it, develop her own like affinity for it, which is why her affinity is already way higher than everybody else's. It's like, okay. So yeah, that really helps because like sometimes they'll try to include a character that is worthless, but it'll be like, oh, but it's supposed to be funny. It's like, yeah, but eventually the action show has to have action in it, and then this character has no purpose. And the more the further the show goes on, the more action is required and the less of a purpose this character has. And it's like, why are they here? But like this show doesn't have that. Speaking of characters, I just want to close the podcast out by asking everybody's favorite character. Rakeem, where you stand?
Kafka by far. Man, he light up every scene he's in. It's like every group he's in, everybody tends to kind of go towards him. People who are kind of like off on him at first because they feel him kind of aloof or like or not that good. They kind of turn to his side. The dude's just so freaking likable and like easy to see himself through. He reminds me a lot of the protagonist from Ranking of Kings. In that regard, not in the age rank. He's the dude from Ranking Kings was a child who was handicapped, but in just the fact that you really want to root for him.
Yeah,
And like you really want him to achieve the goal he's trying to set for himself, and that makes watching a story so much easier. He's always got a good attitude, and Devin said this to me. Tyler said this to me. Our roommate Tyler. He said when you're in he's in the military. He said, man, you got to have a guy like that. You have to have like some guy to do that because like people in the military are knuckleheads, or any squad that have knuckleheads who do crazy stuff. Somebody who can ground everybody and keep the mood to a good. And even at my job, I kind of go towards people who keep you laughing or have good personalities. There was a guy at my old job who was like that. His name was Troy, and he was a really really nice dude. and he made everybody happy, everybody smiling, made work so much easier to get through.
Heck, even
And
the
that's how
vice
he is
captain
for this
said
show.
that.
I was
Even the
just
vice
about to
captain
say, Oshina made a big point. Multiple times he was like, keep this man around. We need laughs.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Even watching, he makes the show easy to watch by his presence, because like without that comedy, this is a very serious situation. These people,
Oh, yeah.
this show can easily skew, and it probably will at some point skew darker, and it could be in some really dark, horrific conditions. So just having something that can lighten the mood in between that, helps out a bit. So yeah, by far for me, he's the character that uplifts me and has me wanting to see what's going to happen, what he's going to get into, what stupid shit he's going to do, and like throwing up on the plane or slipping and falling, getting stole off a monster, transforming parts of his body by accident. Oh man, he's hilarious. Yeah, he's my favorite character. He's my favorite character by far.
Terrence, where do you stand? Where's your favorite character so far?
I mean, hey, Rakeem makes a very convincing argument for Kafka. And I mean, yeah, he is the most interesting character in the show. I will say, though, that I think Reno, like, he's somebody to not sleep on, because there's something about him. Because even as the vice captain noticed, like, the fact that the vice captain and the cool bar looking character that has like the pompadour
with the sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Even he
Iharu.
noticed, like,
yeah, thank you, Iharu.
Even both of them noted that he's getting better at a very rapid pace, and it makes you wonder: is there like more to his backstory than what we've been told so far? Like, he did just kind of show up and just join the cleanup crew, and he told us why he joined that, but I feel like there's more to his character that once we find it out is going to make him even more compelling. But yeah, I do think that honestly, yeah, like this whole cast for the most part, they're all kind of likable in their own way, even though they all kind of fall under, their own little tropes. They're still interesting enough to keep the show going. And I think that, speaks volumes for like the writing, at least so far. I mean, everything could turn south, so I don't want to praise it too much, but yeah, I think Kafka is probably going to be the character that I'll go with, just because he's the type of main character that you need to keep you engaged in a show like this. Like, if he wasn't there, this show wouldn't be as interesting. Like, even if you like aged him down, like if you took away like the age aspect, it wouldn't work.
That would take away one of the most interesting parts of the show.
Yeah, like it wouldn't work as well.
It would just be Naruto.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be another run-of-the-mill shonen with just another, young protagonist that's like, I want to beat the kaiju. I want to be the best, essentially, the best of whatever.
Believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Believe it. But the fact that he's the type of character that he pursued his dream multiple times and he's failed multiple times, but he never gave up, and he's just now getting to the point where he's getting to do what he really wanted to do. Like, yeah, I think that's really inspiring and really cool. So yeah, I give it to Kafka. I think I'll go ahead and give it to him. But yeah, I do think that Reno, there's something about him. I'm very interested to see where the series goes with him.
You know what you reminded me of when you were talking about him failing and him like deciding like this is gonna be the time I don't fail? When that man broke his leg and he didn't know what to do, he was gonna try to stand up on the leg, and Reno was like, "Don't worry about it, man. I got you." It's like running with his on his shoulders.
Oh,
oh yeah.
Even the vice captain was like, "Bro, what the fuck going on, man?" And finally, like when the mission was over, they both fell over, and it was like transformation undone or something like that.
Yeah,
or no, combination undone.
Yeah,
bro, I was in tears, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was funny.
That was funny. Like, man, those two, they make a great pairing together. Like, they're like good friends. Yeah, I did not expect that. I thought Reno was gonna be a more standoffish, aloof person. But I guess, and this is one of the things that's good about the show, you have to actually change in response to things that happen to you instead of just staying the same type. And so, like, Reno, after he got his life saved, he was like, "Hey, man, this dude, he all right about me. I got that bad to say about him." And he just puts him, because at first he like looked at him and was like, "Didn't you want to be in the defense force? And you failed, huh? Get away from me. I don't want your failure on me." And he went from that to being like, "Yo, man, this dude, he knows his stuff at this cleanup place." And he was like, "I don't know why you gave up. You shouldn't have gave up. If you this good at this, you could have been good at that." And then like after he saved his life, he was like, okay, you just cool by me. And so like that, they've become such good friends. It's just like it's great to see them work together.
Yeah.
Will, where do you stand? I mean, yeah, Will, where do you stand? Who's your favorite character so far?
It's Kafka because he's just that kind of guy. Like truthfully, I can't find any other better words to truthfully just describe him as this. He's just super relatable. He's definitely inspiring because he's pushing through probably some of his quote unquote worst, like, years of his life trying to do something that he should have been done. He failed at it numerous times, and now he's like, I'm not stopping until I get it. Now he got it. He has an advantage, but he's doing his best not to use it because he don't want to be, he don't want to be one of them ones under the earth or being cleaned up. So, I love him. I love him so far. He's making me really enjoy this show every step of the way, especially him and Reno having their little, friendship and how they've gotten along. I like it a lot. It makes the show much more watchable. It really does. It makes you want to stick with it a lot too, just for them too at this point.
All right, okay. Almost a clean sweep at this point. Devin, what's your favorite character, man?
Man, you already know, man. Kafka, man. Big Kafka, man.
Big Kafka.
this character, man. I'm if I were to give an honorable mention to another character I like, it would have to be Soshiro. I those are my two favorites. Like, because the fact that the whole time that train, he's like, man, this guy's hilarious, man. You see that? They like, this guy suck. What are you talking about? Like, it's this power level so low. It's like, hey man, this guy funny, man. I don't know. Hey man. I was like, and the fact he got like the little sharp teeth, he's just so goofy. But
he even acknowledged it. He was like, we really should fail this man. But he too funny, so I want to keep it.
But he's still like realistic. Hey man, you're gonna be out here in 3 months. You better get together. So he like, you funny, but if you
I ain't gonna let you drag us down.
I'm not gonna let you laugh us into the grave, Ain't gonna be no laughing in the coffin. So if you don't get together, you out of here, buddy.
Not unless you sort out online.
And just the fact that after he said, this man too funny, we can't let him go, that nigga immediately did something stupid. It said, see, I told y'all this man funny as fuck.
Oh yeah, the other chick, like the little like reconnaissance information. She's like, see, he already doing. It's like exactly that's what I'm talking about.
That man literally called Kafka comic relief. I was like, God damn.
But yeah, he was like, he's if Kafka wasn't, he probably my favorite. But he showed him like, hey man, I'm goofy, but don't think I got hands. She can do that long range stuff. But this is my specialty. I'm close range. He took out that sword. I said, I couldn't even see the blade. Exactly.
Yeah, he turned into like it's weird for me to say this because it's an anime, but it's like everything else has been kind of science-based for the most part.
Sure
he
has.
turned into a straight-up anime character. Like, it was like, couldn't see the blade. I'm like, what fantasy anime am I watching right now? What the fuck happened?
Everybody, everything's been like guns and like realistic weaponry and military tactics, grenades outside of giant monster transformation.
2 short swords and just killed that kaiju instantly. And I was like, bro, they ain't even try to slow it down for us. They was like, nah, you don't need to see it either. He too fast for the viewers' eyes too.
As soon as that scene came up, I was like, yeah, this guy's Levi.
He really pulled a Raven. He pulled a Raven from Tekken 5. Hey, Hachi Mishima is dead.
For a little bit, I was thinking, I'm like, maybe this guy, maybe he's just like intelligent. He's just like, but I'm like, maybe he doesn't have any combat prowess. And I was wrong with that. Even with Reno, I thought that Reno was so did the dichotomy between him and Kafka, I was thinking it was like One Punch Man, like Saitama and
Genos.
Except for like it's reverse. Like Kafka's the main character, but he sucks right now in terms of just like being trying to get to the defense force. But Reno's like this like prodigy apparently. It's like I didn't think he was gonna be working. I'm like, he gonna join, but it's like, nah, he might be one of them ones.
That's actually a very good comparison. Yeah, them and Genos, like a One Punch Man Genos. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, but that boy Kafka, man. Where do I start, man? It's just the entire show, man. It's just every scene he's in is comical. I mean, it's some of the most hilarious scenes. Like him when they were doing the little personal best like target practice rounds, and Reno's like, I got like 1 minute and 50 seconds. And the guy that was right, he's like, I'm gonna beat your score. Then the military guy and the green hair dude, it's like they got like these pairing of rivals. It's like Reno and the red hair guy, the military guy and the green hair dude, which that captain, she like she trying to do a little something that ain't no
Man, wouldn't she though?
she,
They even said it was like cougar mode activated. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my.
I was like,
Make it
oh.
your like you understand there's people dying on the field, people in danger on the field. What you doing being horny? Get it together.
hey,
I
man.
swear, yo, put it up.
You know what?
You know,
Hey, I appreciate when a female character like that is tossed into the mix every now and then. It makes it gives us some balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's these groups of like rivals. Like I said, the fact that he's first shown, he's doing the cleanup duty. He's just like, but this is just the closest. Like they say, like if you aren't doing the thing you want to do, like do the closest thing to it, and that's that's the closest thing to it. But it has helped him, like be a very valuable asset right now. They're like, dang, like combat wise, you trash right now, but you giving us intel and reconnaissance that's like literally like keeping us in the fight. But man, he's just so hilarious, man. Like the scene where like I said, the personal best, Reno gets like a 1.5. The other guy comes up, he get like 1.2.
I think it was like 2.5 minutes, and then the other dude was like 2 minutes 15 seconds, and then Coffee came up there was like 7 minutes.
6 minutes. Let's go, baby.
He's that meme of the guy that got like bronze. He's like eating the medal and like shooting champagne and everything.
Champagne out.
Just like,
and social told, hey man, you better 3 months. I'm telling you, 3 months.
3 months.
Just the whole suit scene, like this, they gave him a Vegeta mode. They gave him a Vegeta grid mode moment in episode 6, man. I was like, Stack, he here to learn how to use the suit. He about to power up.
No.
He got the little green aura. It's like, yeah, let's go. That Kaiju came. I was like, she was like, man, get out of the way. You little 1%. Get out of the way. Get to the back of the line.
I was
like,
that in itself was funny because he was like, I did all this training. I'm up to 1%. I said, oh man, look here.
That
bro.
was the funny thing was when he first put it on, it was 0.1%. And he didn't get to 1%.
When they first put it on, it was 0%. And then
he
like
went to 0.1%.
He put all the effort he could in and got the 0.01%. And then finally he was like, I got all the way up to 1%. I'm like, man, shut up.
Which I feel like he's gonna get to 100 eventually because
I feel like he's not. I feel like the reason he can't get any higher is because that kaiju shit in him.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking too. But I feel like it's gonna be like he's gonna learn how to harness because the suit is made out of the stuff that they're the kaijus.
Yep.
I'm thinking like maybe once he like kind of learns how to do this thing for real, like he's going because they say she's at like 96% Mina when she had that big Super Saiyan Nintendo
super duper scope. Yeah.
She
that
was
gun was ridiculous.
And I was kind of that moment I was a little confused because she kept shooting and they was like, all right, you can stop now. She's like, and I was like, I get what she was doing because it's like when you shoot a thing, it's gonna make a bunch of them. So she's trying to get is rid of much of the body as he can. But yeah, like the whole like training, like he's running, he's like, man, I used to be so nimble, like I can't move like is this what it feels to be in your 30s? It's like he had the LeBron James moment. I'm 32.
I'm not Thanos.
The shower, the hot tub scene when they come in there talking about, hey man, your biceps small, man. We about the same size. What are you talking about? He come in there like, witness the body of a hard
grown man.
He just go to sleep. He's like, he said, wait a minute.
That man couldn't hold his breath long enough.
He said,
that gut came out.
You wanted to be in the defense force to protect people. You can't protect your waistline.
Yo,
it was like, I was like,
that line. Oh my day. That shit. I was like, damn.
You can't be in the defense force with a spare tire. I said, oh God.
It's just so many moments, man. Like the moment he turns to the kaiju, he wakes up, the things in his face. He like, what the? He turns into Reno's like, man, you good over there? What's going on, man? He's like, yeah, I'm good, man. He looks at him like, you all right? What? He's like, yeah, it's me, man. It was very similar to Guyver when I think it was what's his name? Shino, he got transformed and his Kieran was like, man, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. What you talking about? Like he looked at himself, he's like, oh, I guess I ain't good. What's going on there? The old man comes to the door and is like, him. Hello?
Man, when that
911.
old man pulled that phone out, he was hobbling. And he saw that man say,
Immediately.
He's like, no.
I'm like, yo, this man, I think I knew by episode 2. I'm like, yeah, I think if this one keeps going this way, I'm gonna like this. And like I said, Kafka's just a lovable character. It's just been too many scenes where I've been just laughing uncontrollably with this guy. He first meets what's the girl's name? The young girl, the prodigy.
Kikoru.
He first meets her. They park and she just goes and just moves the car. Like, yeah, just move. Like, hey man.
But by the way, man, she threw it on the side. It's like, damn,
For
if
real,
he's
I'm
put
like-
it like correct. It's like he still got to drive home.
That was so sad too, because bro was like, the company vehicle. I'm like, damn, you couldn't even.
And that's when I thought she was gonna be my least favorite. I'm like, oh man, here we go. We got one of them characters. She coming in here. I'm hot stuff McGee, man. Like, man, you get out of here, man. And then she got humble real quick. Oh, my bad. But she did tell him, hey man, look, you saved my life. But I mean, don't say nothing because they gonna spearmint on you. But like, I know he said let them fight, but I think it's because she mentioned she's like, look, because if you go feral or whatever, we don't know what's gonna happen. So when you already, and at this point, I'm thinking, could they even stop him? Because like, have y'all even fought anybody of his level? like, would y'all even be able to stop him? Is the question. Because when he punched him, he's gone.
Maybe maybe Mina could, but that's
saw
about
what he
it.
said.
Yeah,
you saw what he said. He said, if it happens, you take care of it.
Yeah.
He gave her the go ahead. He was like, if I go off.
I mean, he don't know how his powers work. He's still trying to figure it all out.
Work.
Definitely.
He don't know
And
how they work.
Like Sage mentioned, that was the first thing that had me just dying. When he was they was running away out of the hospital, he was just like transforming. Like, I feel like I gotta pee, but where's it gonna come out of? He's just like running and transforming it. Oh no! It's like, yo,
No one's ever gonna take me as a bride.
Yeah, so I don't see nothing down there. You ain't got the right parts.
Like, it's like he's intelligent, he's goofy, he's a klutz. He out there on the job eating again. Reno, come on, hey man, you good? He turn around, he like face straight, like, bro, you in public. Like,
Man,
he just eating and smiling. I'm like, bro, this character is a goofball, man.
whole face changed back into the kaiju. I said, okay.
And the last thing I'll say about him, episode 6, man, it's like the dichotomy between the funny and the serious. That scene, they was getting everybody evacuated, everything's serious. And he's like, I'm nervous, man. They finally land. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And he like, everybody like, yeah, let's go. And they jump off the building. He like just crossed down.
Oh man,
I said,
he gave like a little hype speech and everything, and he was like, all right, let me get on down. Like,
I'm thinking he gonna just like jump on. He like, nah, man, I got
not with that 1%.
Oh man, yeah. This character, he's by far, like I said, Social will be my second, but Kafka is just he's the guy, man.
I'm gonna give it to Reno. Kafka is one of my favorites. It's probably my top favorite, but like everybody else said Kafka, so I'm gonna give it to Reno a little bit. He's just such a good side character. Like, even though he's like good enough at everything that you never feel like he's just been completely sidelined. But so like because he's got the talent that Kafka wishes he had without the powers and shit. But he's not. He's also just like he's the balanced. He's like the straight man to all of Kafka's nonsense antics. Yeah. Like Kafka will be over there doing some nonsense, and Reno will be like, "Bro, if you don't cut, you about to get caught. You go fuck it up for yourself. Cut that shit out." Like the part where he like transfer you is like, what are you doing lifting up that because he picked the car back up to fix it.
Yeah.
And Reno was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, hey man, I only transform my hands. Bro, you go get caught. Cut this shit out. And like the one scene where he like drop kicked Kafka because Kafka's face was all fucked up. Kafka was like, I fixed it. He's like, bro, you ain't fixed shit. Look at your mouth, bro. Like it's all messed up. Like him being there just to be like almost like a dad. It's like kind of funny because he's like the young guy. But
it's kind of like a Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, it's like the helpful guy, the guy on the side of his shoulder and shit. Yeah. It's cool. And just like for him to, like Keem said, he's just not useless. So it's like it's not like he's what's the dude? And this is a really esoteric reference, but I started watching this anime. The little short guy in Shaman King. that used to work with
Morty.
Oh,
Well,
my
he
God.
that's what he's called in
Is it-
English.
Yeah.
I know he's not called that in
Yeah.
Japanese.
the little short dude. He just be walking around. I think Oya-san or some Oyamada or something like that. Where he
Yeah.
just be walking around. He like short and useless, and like he really like he can see ghosts, but that's it. And he just there to like balance out the main character.
He's
This
the
ain't none of
info
that.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the info guy. This ain't none of that. This is like he's actually helpful, and then he's also and just the fact that he's just not like it helps that nobody's trying to be stand up to be a dick on purpose. And like when you
Not
first
really,
saw
no.
him, you definitely thought he was gonna be a dick, and he's just like that. That shit went out the window so quick, and it's like okay, I appreciate that. So
Right.
yeah, I mean like the whole cast so far has been likable. Kafka definitely takes the lead because he gets the most time, he gets the most appearances on the show. I like that, but like the fact that everybody is just so fucking. I want to see stuff with all of them. Like if you showed me an episode about some of the other characters, like Devin was bringing up that there's kind of a rivalry setting up on multiple squads, and I'm like, I could if you did more of a rivalry, but like more of an episode about the rivalry between two characters, I'd be down for that. Like, just give me some more information about these characters because I like enough of them to want to see more. So that's great. I think that's gonna wrap this week up. Y'all know the drill. You hit that subscription button on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. While we got TikTok, tell all your nerdy ass friends and family about us. If let them know if they didn't know, No Level Cap goes live every Monday morning. We are on YouTube for video fans. If you prefer the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. And then last thing for me, do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.